Welcome to the visual guide for Ihuykatumu, the first dungeon made available in the Dawntrail expansion. The first boss is Prime Punutiy. Punutiy Press is a group-wide attack that deals unavoidable damage to all party members. Healers be ready. Prime Punutiy will face a random player and use Hydra Wave, a frontal cone area of effect attack. Punutiy will move to the edge of the arena and begin to cast Resurface, a large frontal cone area of effect. The battlefield will then fall into chaos, filling with multiple circular and linear area of effects, which you will have to maneuver between while making your way towards the conjured land trap. The mayhem will end with an arena-wide donut-shaped area of effect, which will damage anyone not standing close to the land trap. The land trap is unlike your traditional enemy, being untargetable, lacking a nameplate, and disappearing after the attack has resolved. Song of the Punutiy will summon 4 additional enemies to the battlefield. These enemies will target 3 party members with an unavoidable circular area of effect, and the final party member with a frontal cone area of effect. The party will need to spread out away from each other to avoid taking overlapping damage. These enemies will then become targetable. Punutiy will move to the center of the battlefield and cast Shore Shaker, a circular area of effect around the boss that expands outward in sections. You will have to stand at an outer section and move inward as they detonate to avoid damage. The mechanics will then repeat until the boss is down. The second boss is Drowsie. Uppercut is a tank buster that deals heavy damage to the target. Use defensive cooldowns and shields to mitigate it. So, will cause multiple seeds to drop from above. The boss will then immediately begin casting Drowsie Dance, which will cause the seeds to erupt in a circular area of effect as they sprout into huge vine-like plants. These vines will eventually begin to use Wallop, a frontal linear area of effect in the direction the vines are drooping. You will eventually see the warning message, Drowsie's dance invigorates the roots, making them grow significantly larger, which also increases the area size of their Wallop attacks. Drowsie will face a random player and use Sneeze, a huge frontal cone area of effect attack. You can avoid this by moving behind the boss. Drowsie will move to the arena's edge and casts Spit, which summons additional enemies. Burn these down while avoiding their area of effects. The summoning and explosion of these don't appear to cause damage at the time of recording. The mechanics will then repeat until the boss is down. The third boss is Apollyon. The boss will face a random player and cast Razor Zephyr, a large frontal linear area of effect attack. Blade is a tank buster that deals heavy damage to the target. Use defensive cooldowns and shields to mitigate it. High Wind is a group-wide attack that deals unavoidable damage to all party members. Healers be ready. Apollyon will feast, increasing his damage before casting Swarming Locust. The boss will then leap around the arena edge 3 times before stopping to cast Blades of Famine, which is 4 large frontal linear area of effect attacks fanning outward. Players will need to maneuver between these to avoid taking damage. The boss will then immediately repeat this leaping attack for a second time. Apollyon will leap to the center of the battlefield and cast Levensickle, summoning 4 small circular area of effects around the boss. 2 of these will remain on the battlefield floor, each creating an arena-wide circular area of effect around themselves, which are made of cone-shaped sections. These will eventually detonate in 2 cross-shaped patterns, with the second being delayed. You will need to maneuver out of the second set of area of effects once the first has detonated to avoid taking damage. Just before the second Levensickle set detonates, Apollyon will also begin to cast Thunder 3, which will target all players with a circular area of effect for unavoidable damage, spread out to prevent overlapping damage from one another. Apollyon will use High Wind, feasting again before casting a modified version of the tank buster Blade, an unavoidable small circular area of effect around the target, which will then explode in an arena-wide donut-shaped area of effect. You will need to move close to the tank after the initial damage. Apollyon will leap to the arena's edge and cast Razor Storm, an arena-wide frontal linear area of effect. You can easily avoid this attack by moving to stand behind the boss. Wind Whistle will conjure a tornado that will move around the battlefield. You will need to avoid it while also making sure you are standing between the tornado's flashing markers, as it will periodically explode in a star-shaped pattern made of multiple linear area of effects. The tornado will explode a total of 3 times before dispersing. This can be a little tricky as Apollyon will continue to use their other mechanics in an attempt to fluster and confuse you. The mechanics will then repeat until the boss is down.